Change. I am your host, Chris Crenshaw, and we are live once again from the 704 for episode 36 of the 815 Exchange. And it was a very, very, very busy week in sports and entertainment. Plenty for me to talk about in a real variety of topics, which is dope, which we love to see. Hope everybody had a great week last week. I had a very good week last week. Had some things I had to, ink out, had to adults. But we were able to figure it out, able to do that. Let's see. As always, remember to like, share, and subscribe to help grow the channel if you're enjoying the content. I know a lot of you are not subscribed. So if you want to just go ahead and subscribe, like, to whatever you want. If you're enjoying the content, go ahead and do that. What else? Timestamps, as always, are in the description. Looking for a specific segment, go ahead. Description, timestamp, right there for you. Take it right there. Social media links also in the description as well. As always, check the description. We got a bunch of information in there for you. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, on TikTok, on Snap, IG, whatever it is, my social media links are at the end of this video, and of course, as always, in the description. And content-wise, a little content update before I hop into our first topic of the day. NFL draft is coming up. I am going to start doing a little bit more NFL draft focused content. Will we do? I might do a specialty episode like I did for the NBA draft back in, when was that? August-ish. It was one of the first couple episodes, I think, of this podcast. But might do one of those. We'll see. But I'll definitely kind of do like mini kind of segments, whether it's in the 815 Exchange. If I have the time, I would like to do kind of like separate uploads, separate little videos about me talking about the NFL draft and my thoughts on the prospects and what I should be going down there. So without further ado, with that said about content, with the intro in, let's get straight to the ending of March Madness and the last college basketball update for quite some time, even though I'm sure we'll have some recruiting news over the summer as usual. And I guess AAU is back, so I'll be talking about that some. Peach Jam, Adidas Gauntlet, all that type of stuff. So be on the lookout for that. It'll probably be in the Roundup going forward. But last Monday, as we talked about, the national championship. And as you should know by now, and this is why I'm starting off with it, because it was last Monday, so it's been about a week. Baylor takes out Gonzaga 86-70. Felt like Baylor was the only team that really had a chance of taking them out, of taking Gonzaga out. And they were able to do it, man. Gonzaga just came out flat. They came out flat. I don't know if they were still, as I said to many different people over the course of this week, I don't know if Gonzaga just came out, still riding off of the high of that overtime win in one of the greatest games we've ever seen against UCLA. I don't know if the adrenaline was just like, it was like an adrenaline jump, or they were just tired. They just did not have that same energy, that same focus, that same precision that Gonzaga's had all year. And this is the one team, well, there's probably more teams, but this is especially, you can especially not do this against this Baylor team and how good defensively this Baylor team. And they did an excellent job. Jared Butler really sold himself. Even though I knew Jared Butler was a good prospect, he was a great player, he's been in National Player of the Year conversations. Every time I watched Butler, I never really got it, if I'm being honest. I never really had that moment where I was like, okay, yeah, he's elite. But in the national championship, Jared Butler showed up, and he looked very, very elite. I bought into what people thought his potential as a scorer was, and him as an an NBA draft prospect. I really started to understand that Butler was phenomenal. He had 22. Davion Mitchell, I think he had 15, but he was great defensively. He just did a great job. I mean, it's what D. Mitch has done all year. We got to come up with a nickname for him. It'd be absolutely hilarious if he somehow fell to the Jazz. Even though I have a feeling the Jazz are going to have a very, very low pick this year. It'd be absolutely hilarious if he ended up on the same team as Donovan Mitchell, who was rocking his jersey, by the way, before the game, which was dope. But yeah, Davion Mitchell, he's a beast. Mark Vital. What did they feed that man, Mark Vital? I mean, he was solidly built coming out of high school. Like, I remember watching him in the dunk contest. He was a great athlete, all that type of stuff. I don't know what Baylor has been feeding Mark Vital, because bro was looking about 6'5". I don't know if the actual numbers. He looked like 6'5", 250, 260. Dude looked like a linebacker. He looked like a linebacker out there. And he did a great job on the boards. He was a huge factor in this game. Macio Teague also, he's been a solid contributor for Baylor all season long. And yeah, this Baylor team is special. That's what it is. That's what it was at the end of the day. It was Baylor's day. They came to play. They got on Gonzaga early. And by the time Gonzaga was able to make those runs, it was too late. Did a great job stopping Timmy. It showed areas in this game where Timmy needs to get better. Jalen Suggs did have 22. He looked like he belonged. It was just kind of like what they were saying on commentary, which you've heard probably by now. Baylor just had the athleticism factor, and they looked like they wanted it more. They looked like they wanted it more than Gonzaga. And that's not to say Gonzaga didn't want it, but Baylor just had the horses. They had the Jimmys and the Joes, and they were hungry. Baylor looked hungry, and Scott Drew gets the national championship for Baylor, so congratulations to them. Gonzaga, not overrated. This is not a scenario where Gonzaga was overrated, their conference, right? Because I tweeted this out also. I don't know why I was seeing Gonzaga slander about them being overrated because they play in the West Coast Conference or whatever. Because, let's keep it real. Let's keep it real. Who else is beating this Gonzaga team besides this Baylor team? Please, tell me who. Nobody in the ACC. The ACC was trash. I mean, god-awful. With all due respect, Georgia Tech won the ACC this year. Georgia Tech. The Big Ten, the Big Ten had, after all of the hype the Big Ten had, after all of the press the Big Ten got about how good the Big Ten was this year. What happened when the NCAA tournament came around? Y'all had one team in the Sweet 16. One. And Michigan did not want to smoke with Gonzaga. Trust. That was not the matchup they wanted, especially without Isaiah Livers. The Big 12? The Big 12. With who? They beat West Virginia. Don't even need to talk about Kansas. Cade is, unless Cade's dropping 80 points. No. Texas? Nah. Definitely not Texas Tech. We know that. The Big East, Georgetown won the Big East. I'm not even going to worry about that. The SEC? No. Alabama? No. Sharif Cooper at all? No. Did they even make the tournament? No. LSU? No. Pac-12? They beat the best teams in the Pac-12. So please tell me. Go ahead and tell me, answer for me, who was going to beat this Gonzaga team? Because I think y'all forget, y'all got caught up in the conference. They play in a bad conference. They washed their non-conference schedule, which had teams like West Virginia and such on that. They were playing competition. The schedule was not as weak as y'all thought. And then they made it here to the national championship game. They played lower seeds. Well, some of those teams were very, very underseeded, as we came to find out. Appreciate this Baylor team for what it is. It was a fantastic, great Baylor team. And they were better. That's what it was. It wasn't Gonzaga was overrated. It wasn't Gonzaga was helped by them playing in a weak conference. And that's the only reason why they made it to the national championship and were undefeated. No. It was just Baylor was better. Put some respect on Baylor's name. You don't have to disrespect Gonzaga to lift up Baylor. But that's it. My last bit of college basketball news here. I didn't talk about it last week. I should have talked about it last week. Trevor Kills, the number 20 prospect in the nation, 5-star shooting guard. Trevor Kills is headed to join his high school teammate Jeremy Roach at Duke. Been hoping to get Kills for a while. Knew it was going to happen. You know how to feel it. And it happened. We got Kills. This team is looking much, much better for next year. I think we should be a preseason top 10 team, which, we're Duke, so I don't really know why it's such a big accomplishment. But I think we should be a little bit higher than I'm seeing us. I think we're going to have a very, very, very good group with the people coming back and with the recruits who are coming in. It's a much, much better team than this year. So, very excited about that. And I'll be very excited about college basketball season when it comes back around. Still got some recruiting news, so be on the lookout for that. But, ladies and gentlemen, what a year, what a season. That was college basketball. Now for soccer, we're going to go over to the soccer world and Champions League. It's going to be mostly Champions League. I'll talk about the regular soccer world here at the end. But, of course, we're going to cover our Champions League action because we have the first leg here of the quarterfinals. We have the second leg coming up this week. But first leg action, we started off so far with Real Madrid versus Liverpool. Real Madrid gets the win 3-1. Vinny Jr. played probably the best game I've seen him play, or one of the best games I've seen him play in a Real Madrid kit. He had a brace. He showed all the potential, showed the finishing project. The thing with Vinny Jr. and Vinicius has always been his finishing product. It hasn't always been there. It's been what he's needed to develop, and he had it. He had it in this Liverpool game, and he got it done. Injuries kind of raped both defenses here. You had, very, very important guys on each defense for Real Madrid and for Liverpool that were out. And Real Madrid was able to take advantage of this. They get the win here. Marco Asensio also scored in this game. 3-1 start. Looks very good. I would expect them to handle business on, I believe, Wednesday is when they play. They got the second half games this week. So I fully expect Real Madrid to get it done. But great game for Vinny. We'll see if he can keep it going. Man City takes out Dortmund 2-1, which is probably preparing for what I think will be a very, very good second leg. KDB, is there a better midfielder in the game today? Certainly the best passer, probably, I think everybody would say in world football. Dude is amazing. He had a goal in this game. Phil Foden. This English group, I have to say, this English group of young players coming up is special. It's very special. If they don't have some sort of international success with all of the young talent that England has, that would just be an atrocity. As I understand it, Gareth Southgate is already, kind of on his last limb. So I don't know if he's the guy, but somebody. There's just way too much talent with England. Phil Foden is the future of Man City. He's been amazing this past year. Really stepped it up, looking like he's going to be one of the best players, I think, in the world one day. Certainly one of the best midfielders in the world. He's got that type of potential, type of upside, and he's producing. He's producing on a constant level. He gets the goal in the 90th minute, a pivotal goal here in the 90th minute to really give Man City the lead there. Though I have to say, this game really probably should have been 2-2. It should have been a draw. I don't know what the ref was looking at. That was not a foul on Jude Bellingham, another great English talent. That was not at all a foul on Jude Bellingham. I don't know what he was looking at. It may have been a penalty for Jude. Because really, he was the one that got fouled. That should have been a goal. I was ridiculous. But Man City gets it done. Should be a very interesting second leg. We know Dortmund can score. They have the machine, and we know what he's capable of. PSG and Bayern, and one of the best games I've watched probably this season. It was a very, very exciting game. Even without Lua, Robert Lewandowski out for Bayern. For PSG, they didn't have Marco Verratti. And this was really just a tell of Bayern's attacking their pressing style of constant pressure versus the PSG with Neymar, who has returned and is back, just instantly back in form. Like he never left, back into his spot as one of the probably top 5 best players on the planet. Him and Mbappe, their counterattack versus Bayern's attacking pressing style. And PSG won out. Though I have to give out to Choupo-Moting. He played for PSG last year. Of course, he was going to score against PSG for Bayern. But Kylian Mbappe, the phenom, has been phenomenal. I think it's actually going under the radar how much he's scoring and how many goal contributions he has. I think he has 42 in 39 games. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it's around 42, 43 goal contributions and about a contribution a game. We always talk about his potential, right? We've talked about for a while now his potential and him eventually being the best player on the planet. Well, right now I'm going to tell you he's scoring like one of the best players on the planet. He also scored in the league game. I feel like every time I watch a PSG game or see a score, he scores or he got an assist. He's just been a monster this year. He has been a monster. He has really developed. He's always had the speed, but he developed the technical aspect. You started to see the flash come into play, but it wasn't really controlled. But this year, you're starting to see him be able to pull off those skills, pull off that change in direction. His agility is absolutely amazing. It's amazing to watch. He's been able to combine that technical aspect of the game with his physical and speed gifts, and now he's, not that he's never been a great finisher, he's always been a solid finisher. Now he's showing some very good finishing abilities, though I think he can still get better in that aspect, and sometimes he's showing some very, very good. I don't know how that goal he scored on Saturday, I don't know how he scored from that angle. He had a great game here against Bayern, had the brace. Mbappe has been a monster. He's showing up against the big clubs, not just in the league, not just in the French league. He's showing up here in the Champions League. Let's see if he can get it done. Will there be an encore this Tuesday against Bayern? I will certainly be watching. Chelsea takes out Porto 2-0. Mason Mount. How much? I've been talking about English talent literally this entire segment. It's crazy. It's literally crazy how much talent England has. Y'all have to win something, right? At least win like Euros or Olympic gold. Just win something. With this group, you have to win something. You have to win something. Mason Mount has really blossomed into one of the best prospects, one of the best midfield prospects in the world. He gets the goal here against Porto. He's really been, honestly, possibly Chelsea's best player. I can't lie. Especially here against Tuchel, he's been great. Mason Mount has been great. Ben Chilwell had a nice goal in this game. I was against Chelsea, but I can't lie, man. Chelsea they're back in form, and they're back. They got the momentum again. Made the win against Porto look easy. Against the weekend, they played Crystal Palace. Captain America is back. It's something about when that summer heat hits Christian Pulisic, and it hits about April, May, and we start getting into these summer months, that Christian Pulisic just flips a switch, and he seemingly flipped it. 3 goals in his last 2. He went off the bar in this Porto game. Dude Pulisic he's back in form. He's back in form, and it makes him one of the best young players I think in the world. Is an informed Pulisic. He's just an absolute menace on the wings. And Chelsea, that bids very, very well for Chelsea. They're starting to click. I said they just need some time. This Chelsea team, with all the additions, they just needed time. And Chelsea, now time's starting to hit. You're starting to see them get better. I think they're getting better, especially with the young talent. They're developing. They're getting better over the course of the season. They're getting healthy. And sometimes the Champions League, sometimes the season is all about peaking at the right times. Sometimes that's what the football season is all about, peaking at the right times. And it's looking like Chelsea is going to peak at the right time yet again. Now to head over to the entertainment industry. It's going to be a very good upcoming. I'm going to have a lot to talk about next week. But of course I have all the stuff to talk about this week. But I think next week I'm going to have quite a bit to talk about with the music drops coming up. But we have some good stuff this week as well. Starting off, of course, spoiler alert on these TV shows if you're not watching them already. Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Invincible. Go ahead and do that. Go ahead and do that. After this video, go to Amazon Prime or go to Disney Plus or however you stream TV shows and go watch these episodes. Go do that. Go do that. But spoiler alert, because I've been talking about the plot here. So if you gotta skip ahead, go ahead and do that. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, episode 4. It got real. We only got 2 episodes left, so it was kind of destiny. But it got real. It got very much so real here in this past episode. John Walker has snapped. He has gone full heel, and we had been building to it. We saw him slowly start to slip in his anger and the pressure of being Captain America. And his ideals with being Captain America, we started to see the threads be pulled, and they just became unwrapped. Carly killed Battlestar, and That set off a reaction. That set off a reaction. Carly, they did a great job with Carly's character also in this episode and kind of showing the inner workings of that. Her conversation with Sam, you got to see that. Their relationship with Sam and how their feelings, how their ideals match up in the cause. It's very interesting here that nobody, even John in this case, is not completely wrong about the narrative, the story they've been telling, and their actions. They're not all completely morally wrong. There's a lot of grayness in this entire, even though Pandans are coming after Zemo because, again, Baron Zemo has been one of the best characters in this entire thing. He's been an absolute treat. He was great again. He escaped, so we got to see what happens there. But, even with Ao and the Wakandans, coming after Zemo, right? Everything is justified here, and I think that's part of what's making the show so great, is that all of the storylines, there's a lot of grayness. There's a lot of sides to different stories being told here. But yeah, Carly killed Battlestar. John Walker then gets blood on the shield. Hopefully that's the picture I have right here. I'm going to try to find it. But that was absolutely a haunting. First time I think we saw blood on the shield. Steve would be rolling in his grave, absolutely disgusted. And he did it, with all the cameras around. It's just, there's no coming back. Absolutely no coming back from that. Now we get to see, what do Bucky and Sam do now? We got to find Zemo. Got to deal with Walker. Got to deal with Carly, man. It's a lot happening here. And it's been a very, very good 4 episodes. Honestly, I wish it was much longer, but very excited for episode 5 and, of course, the series finale or season finale. But Falcon and Winter Soldier delivers once again. A lot of great storylines going on. Invincible episode 5. Oh my gosh, the show continues to deliver. Continues to deliver. Mark Grayson's adventures continue. We see how that continues to evolve and develop. He, trying to take a step up here. He works with Titan. We got to see Titan for the first time here in his situation. Another complex character, wanted to do things for his family. Eventually manipulates himself into becoming the kingpin, essentially, of the city. We saw in that entire fight. I have to give a shout out. Not to Metalhead. Metalhead, done a solid job. He did what he did, blah, blah, blah. But we got to see Battle Beast. I heard about him. I saw it in pictures, right? They said, this is the coldest dude in the entire comic. And I was like, all right, we'll see. He is the cold. We didn't even need the rest of the kind of like Sinister Six play on. We didn't even need, but we just needed Battle Beast, and he could have took all of them. He was catching bodies left and right. He disemboweled Mark, even though Mark can't die. He killed Mark. He killed Beast Girl. Just went on a rampage. He washed everybody. He lived up to the hype. And then he was trapped. Oh my, he was so cold. I can't wait to see more of Battle Beast. Because dude is a beast. He's just a beast. I get the hype in the comics. I'm going to try to keep reading the comics because it started very good. And I know there's been a lot of changes, which is dope. They've made Amber a little bit more fleshed out. We saw Amber and Eve hanging out, which was cool. Kind of subvert that kind of love triangle, kind of that you would expect from a series like this. And when you have the main lead with 2 girls that are possibly interested, even though we don't even know Eve's, interest yet, it's just been kind of hinted. And Mark and Amber are kind of happy. We have that, you would expect like a love triangle, of course, right? But we've kind of subverted that. Amber and Eve becoming friends. Mark has been absolutely terrible with his time management and trying to, uphold that relationship, which is hard. Him trying to uphold his superhero responsibilities and his student responsibilities and his relationship and all that stuff. We got his mom getting continually more suspicious of Omni-Man and all of the things going on there. So another great episode of Invincible. Battle Beast is an absolute dog. No pun intended, he's a beast. But yeah. Now for music, we have Polo G drop the music video and song for Rapstar. Saw stuff from Polo. I think he's got the potential to be one of the best in the game one day. With his delivery, his flow, his talent, he's just very talented. Polo is just very, very, very talented. Another solid song from him. Very excited to see whatever project he is coming out. The GOAT was very good last year, and we'll see. I wouldn't, of course, call him the GOAT yet, but of course it's a term of endearment, I guess, in terms of him calling himself the GOAT. But a lot of talent there with Polo. We'll see what goes on later on this year and see what he has to come. SuperM dropped We Do, which was really just supposed to be a promotional and advertisement song for Prudential, I believe. Had no reason being this good. Had no reason. That song had no reason being as good as it was. Absolutely no reason. The music video, the choreo, like that, it was fire. It was so good. So good. All English as well. Just so good. I mean, they don't miss. It's literally probably the greatest, in terms of talent, the best, talent group you could have in that entire genre. So, I mean, what did I expect? But they literally cannot miss. They cannot make a bad song. Even songs that would be objectively bad songs for any other group, they somehow make work. That is how stacked that lineup is. And yeah, more great stuff for SuperM. Unfortunately, with Baekhyun and Tatum, of course, about to head to the Army. Even though Tatum announced some new stuff, I think Shiny also dropped today. We're not going to see him for a while, but this was a great track, great song, great music video. It didn't even really feel like a promotional stuff, but yeah, great stuff, a lot of funk in there. Moving on, we had Dave return, Santan Dave. David has returned, even though I know he had the stuff with Fredo, which he talked about again. Fredo's his man's, whatever. Happy to see Dave back. He finally dropped, even though these aren't in the album. It was a nice little warm-up team. Kind of like with Drake dropping Scary Hours 2. Hadn't heard from Dave in a while. He drops Titanium and Mercury. Two absolutely slap. I mean, they both slap. Absolute fire. I mean, it's Dave. Again, what did you expect? Everybody I've talked about here musically don't really miss. They don't miss. This is the week of people that don't miss dropping, I guess. And yeah, Dave doesn't miss. Titanium, Mercury a little bit longer, a little bit more... less focused on, I mean, it still had bars, but it was less focused. Had a little bit of a different sound, but again, still quality. Just all Dave drops is quality. I'm very, very excited to see what he's got in his encore, in his comeback from Psychodrama, which was highly, highly regarded. Won on Mercury for that, which I guess is kind of like, kind of similar to, I'm trying to put it into words for some of you that might not be familiar with the British rap scene or the British music scene. I guess it's similar to a Grammy in terms of prestige. He won Album of the Year pretty much. Just won a British Album of the Year, I guess that's the best way to put it. But yeah, Dave, absolute, he's great. He's great. If you don't know him already, get acquainted. He's just so good, so young. He's going to run this game for a long time. Moving on to, let's go to combat sports. Let's switch it up here in terms of my kind of area here. Let's go to combat sports because we had a nice, interesting UFC fight night. Of course, we got it coming up this week yet again with Robert Whittaker. So, Robert Whittaker main eventing a fight night card, which is nuts in 2021. So, highly recommend that you go watch that. Definitely go watch that if you can. You rarely see somebody this good on a fight night card, at this stage in the prime of the career, but we got it. He's faced on Kelvin Gastelum. Should be a great, great fight. Hopefully nothing COVID-related goes on. Please, fight gods. Please, don't take this one away. But yeah, that one should be interesting. Whittaker wins. I think he gets Izzy next, especially since Till got injured, who was supposed to fight Marvin Vettori, who was the main event, the headliner of this fight. Of course, Kevin Holland has always stepped up, and he made the fight. So we got our main event. We got Vettori to fight. And Vettori was simply just on another level than Holland. With all due respect, Holland's got a lot of upside. But I think his hype chain is done. It's done for right now. He has to learn how to wrestle. He's got the jiu-jitsu. He can strike. But he's got to figure out something with takedown defense. He's got to learn how to wrestle. Got to learn how to get off his back. He needs to take some time off and build up his strength. Vettori overpowered him very easily. Very, very, very easily. And sure, Holland could go down to 170, right? But at 6'3", Holland's body is probably better suited in terms of length for middleweight. So I think he just simply needs to take some time off, in the gimmick for now. Put the gimmick on pause since the hype train is done for now. He's shown he's not ready to be with the elite. Take a pause, get stronger, keep developing your game. Don't always take these fights because you have Vettori just completely dominant. Time to give Vettori. I mean, he's almost back to getting that rematch versus Adesanya. Who should be next? Think he gets the Costa versus Costa or Cannonier. I think is where that should go. I think he takes one more fight. He wins that next fight against another top 5 opponent. Definitely think he's in line for a title shot against Izzy and get that rematch. I think he'll be well deserving. Vettori looking very, very good. He's showing some great development. Still fairly young, only 28. So good stuff from Vettori. Arnold Allen gets the unanimous decision against Sodiq Yusuff. 8 straight wins at featherweight for him. He is definitely on my radar. He fought a very smart fight. And that fight IQ, one of the most important qualities you can have as an MMA fighter. And Allen displayed it in this fight, gets the win against Yusuff, who's not a bad fighter himself. But yeah, 8 straight wins at featherweight for Arnold. That's the longest featherweight streak, even over Volk, even over Zabit. So that's definitely something to look out for. I definitely think that Allen, like he called for, time to take that step up in competition, see if he's ready to bang with the elite featherweight. Of course, Ortega and Volk are going to be doing the Ultimate Fighter this year, so we'll get that some fight sometime in the summer. Hopefully no COVID interruptions for that. But, good fight for Allen. Well done. And to end off here, Marquez continues his gimmick of the calling out people. He got a sub win, another great sub win. Continues his famous call-outs. He had the Miley Cyrus call-out earlier. This time he calls out Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce for a game. So, cool stuff. Great. I mean, he's doing a great job marketing himself this way. And if he can keep the wins going, I think that bodes very, very well for Marquez. Mackenzie Dern subs the newly named, as she has taken Amanda Nunes' last name, Nina Asamarov, who is now Nina Nunes. Well, fortunately, she didn't hold up the last name. She gets subbed by Mackenzie Dern, who is absolutely subbing everybody. Please give Dern a step up in competition. I think she's ready. Ever since she's come back, she's got like mom. I don't know. Somehow we say, the male fighters sometimes after they get children, they get that father streak. It seems like Dern's got that mother streak after her pregnancy and after having her child. She's come back with a vengeance. She's subbing absolutely everybody. And of course, to end off this card, Mike Perry takes another L. It's not been a good time for Mike Perry. I mean, he might be a loss away from getting cut. I'm going to be completely honest. And he might get cut before that. Mike Perry's career win. It has taken he's falling like a meteor. He is falling like a meteor. Hopefully he can get his life straightened out. I think that's somewhat affecting him. But yeah, Perry, what a fall. What a fall from grace. Another L for him. He's just not had a good time this past year and a half. It's been real, real rough for Mike Perry. And yeah, if it's something like personal, really hope he gets that together. The fight game's not everything in this aspect. I think there's something going on with his life. We've heard about all the different controversies. Hopefully he gets that fixed out because he's got some talent, but, it's just his headspace not there and he's not winning fights. Just not winning fights. And he's on the verge of getting cut. So we'll see how that storyline develops, but that was combat sport. Now to head over to NBA. The NBA, ladies and gentlemen. Had a very good week. Finally enough for me to, do like a legitimate full main topic. Of course, we had a lot of those in this episode, and we got one more after this. But first, we got the NBA. It was a very good week, especially with some of these performances that came up and that I'll talk about here. Gary Trent Jr. Development has been crazy. I always thought Gary had some potential as a player. Probably thought he was going to be, at his floor, a nice solid 3-and-D player. But he's showing some possible star potential. He newly traded to the Raptors now, had 44 versus the Wizards, and a very efficient 44. And this is another, probably the best in what's been a lot of good performances for GTJ. Very, very, very surprised by his development. The Raptors haven't been a very good team, but Gary Trent Jr. is looking like a great young piece. and a guy that can really be a part of the future there in Toronto and make some noise. He's been a great fit, and he's been a great player. He's showing some signs of becoming a very, very, possibly even an all-star caliber player. He's very young still, so yeah. Shout out to GTJ, big time 44 against Washington. He's been great. Zach Lavine had 39 and 1/2 against the Hawks. He ended with 50, but they take the L. My boy had 50 points in an L. Partially because Trae Young had 42, 9, and 8. So shout out to Trae, shout out to the Hawks for getting that win. Shout out to Lavine for an absolute monster game. I thought the Jalen Green comparison, I saw a lot of comparisons for that's who a lot of people were comparing Jalen Green to. I was like, you know what, I think that's a solid one, but I was like, I think he could be, I think that might be a little bit unfair on JG's part. But you know what, I'm going to give Lavine his flowers. He's been a great player. I don't think that, Jalen Green comp would be too off the mark. I think they're pretty similar players, still kind of in that same vein. Still stand by that young Kobe, which again, a lot of people take as, oh, he's going to be as great as Kobe, or he's going to be as great as Mike, when people say that. No, we're not saying that he's Kobe Bryant or he's Michael Jordan. Nobody's Kobe Bryant and nobody's Michael Jordan, except for Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. But he has similar traits, similar attributes, as even my boy, when I was talking about this with Ra, who we talked about in some of the at the bus, and you've heard his name a couple times, one of my friends, one of my best friends, almost like my brother. We were talking about this, and I've talked about it with other people. They've got that similar type of play style, and I think Lavine actually has some aspects of that too. And yeah, he's been able to really kind of put it together in Chicago. Still not a great team, but that's definitely a building block. I think he's a key building block, possibly a franchise player over there in Chicago. Big time 50 points, but they take the L. Somebody that did not take the L in their 50-point performance the same day was Jason Tatum. A smooth 53 for JT against the Wolves in OT. Probably the best game of his career, we can dare say. A career high with 53. Great game for him. It was a great game to watch as well. The Celtics and the Wolves went to overtime. Boston gets the win, as I said. He has to continue to elevate for Boston to reach their potential, and if they want to contend for championships, Tatum has to continue to develop into one of the game's best players. I think that's the level he has to be at for them to be championship contenders, especially in the East, even though I still think, and I'm going to get to the Nets, even though I still think the Nets are going to run this, but, Tatum, Brown, those are the two young guys for the Celtics. Going forward, they have to be the guys. They have to continue to elevate. And games like this for Tatum are huge, I think, in terms of him building confidence and building towards being an elite player in this league, which is where I think he needs to be for Boston fans. For y'all to have success, that's what Tatum needs to do. And he handled his business against the Wolves. Now let's talk about the Nets. I just mentioned them. They got absolutely butchered by the Lakers. I don't know what happened here. I know Kyrie, who's now taking some more time off, which, one hand, I get it, We kind of, normal people, beg for this type of thing where you can just take time off freely in some aspects when you need a mental break or whatever. But this also just kind of leaves a sour taste, I have to say, with Kyrie just kind of picking and choosing. He treats it like a job, in some reason it is a job. So I can't really say Kyrie's all wrong, but it's, Kyrie at this point, Kyrie's going to Kyrie. Anyways, in this game, he gets ejected with Dennis Schroeder. And then the Nets, I don't know, just get completely, it was a blowout. This game was never even close. It was never even close. The Lakers didn't have Kuz, they didn't have LeBron, they didn't have AD. They didn't have their three best players and still beat the Nets by 20 points. They made Andre Drummond look like prime Shaq, I heard. The Nets are like Superman. In the sense of, they're like Injustice Superman, because let's be honest, the Nets are no heroes. Except for anybody living in Brooklyn or is a bandwagon fan, they're absolutely the villains of this season, right? So maybe like Injustice Superman. They have a kryptonite. They're not completely invulnerable. They're almost. They absolutely should win the championships, as I've said millions and millions of times on this podcast. And they're absolutely stacked to the brim. But there are still some chinks in the armor. There's still some kryptonite. I think big men, as we've seen, they haven't completely answered that defensive question. They haven't really answered in terms of their big men against a great big man. I would love to see what they do against Embiid and how they handle that. Still think they beat the 76ers in a 7-game series, but Embiid could have some really, really big games, and that could cause some trouble. So that's definitely, I think the Lakers kind of exposed some holes. I try not to take the regular season too much, but I think there are some interesting things to take away from this Lakers and Nets game. And yeah, Lakers continue. Again, Frank Vogel, wonderful coach. Just wonderful. I wasn't so sure about that hire, but he's really been proven to be one of the best head coaches in the league. Even without Kuz, even without AD, even without the King, they are still first in defense in the league. First in defensive efficiency. Lakers have been great. Best defensive team in the league, even without. Bodes very well for when they do come back. Enes Kanter had 24 and 30. I don't know what it was this week. I really don't. Enes Kanter had 24 and 30 against Detroit. No words. I mean, Kanter's not a bad player, but 24 and 30, Detroit. It's bad. It is bad for Detroit. It is really, really bad. They are in full tank for Cade or Jalen or the other Jalen or for Evan. I mean, they need it. They need a top 4 pick. They need one. Desperately. Because the Pistons are down horrendous. Kanter with 24 and 30. Shout out to him. A-Rod, now in kind of the more business aspect. Alex Rodriguez and Will Lord buy the Wolves, or at least are in the business of buying the Minnesota Timberwolves for a $1.5 billion valuation. So, should be interesting. Don't know why exactly they chose Minnesota, but very interesting business, aspect from A-Rod. See what he can do. I didn't know he was such a big basketball fan. But, yeah, we'll see if they can be the right owners to help turn this Timberwolves team around. A-Rod's got a history of winning, I guess. He's got a ring. He's got a World Series ring. So we'll see what goes on there. But, yeah, that's a little bit interesting on the business side of things. Of course, I'm a business student. I'm a business major. So that was something very interesting for me. Back to the basketball, though. Everybody got posterized before I wrap it up here. Absolutely I've never seen so many posters in one weekend. I felt like everybody was getting posters. Miles Bridges, Paul George. I mean, so many posters this week. So many. Your favorite player might have gotten a poster or might have gotten posterized this week. It was bad. Everybody was getting dunked on. But yeah, that was a very entertaining night. A bunch of great performances this week in the NBA. So we'll see if we can keep going. Zion had 38 again, which he's so close to 40. But he's always around that 38 mark. But yeah, great week in the NBA. But yeah, moving on to the MLB, my last major subject of the day. Joe Musgrove had a no-hitter, had the first no-hitter of the year, had the first in San Diego Padres history as well. Musgrove is also a San Diego native, so that just kind of added to the sweetness. He was a hit, how do I say this? He was a hit batter away from a perfect game, so an amazing game for Musgrove. Shout out to the Padres, they've improved greatly. Of course, a lot of that built around Tatis, even though he's injured. Hopefully he can come back and, back to the level of Tatis play that we expect. But huge right here for Musgrove. We've seen how no-hitters can really elevate a pitcher's season, elevate their career. So interesting to see if that continues with Musgrove. They get it against the Rangers. Angel Hernandez, do not know why he is still an umpire. Called the worst game of the season so far. What do we expect? I mean, it's Angel Hernandez. Dude is he's mediocre. Why is he still employed by the MLB? I'll never know. He even lost the lawsuit. He tried to claim it was racism while he was being criticized. No, you're trash, bro. You're just a trash umpire. I could grab one of my friends that know nothing about baseball, and they might call a better game than Angel Hernandez. That is how bad of an umpire you are. Please retire. Please retire. Or MLB, fire him. Please just fire him. He's absolutely atrocious. Jacob deGrom, keep it with the pitching scenario going on here. Jacob deGrom, best pitcher in the world, one of the best players just overall in the world, period. 8 innings pitched, 14 Ks, 1 earned run, and a loss. I don't know what it is about when DeGrom pitches, but I'm going to slam the Mets. I'm a Yankees fan, so this is fine for me. The Mets have no offense when DeGrom plays, and I don't understand it. You have the best pitcher on the planet, yet he continues to pitch gym after gym after gym, and y'all continue to lose games when he pitches. He's giving up either no runs or he's giving up a max of 1 to 2 runs a game, and y'all can't produce 1 to 2 runs to get him a win. You look at his ERA, you look at his strikeout record, and then you look at his wins and losses, and you're confused. This is a easy Cy Young contender, probably a Cy Young favorite. And we have to devalue the amount of wins and losses because that's how bad the Mets are at playing when DeGrom pitches. I don't know what it is. It's like a paradox. Whatever. Moving on, there's been some very fun stuff, especially if you're a former #1 overall prospect. If you're a former top prospect in the MLB, it's been a very good start for the season. Byron Buxton has an 8-game win hit streak. Ronald Acuna has been great, looking like a lot of people had him as one of the MVP favorites. He's looking the part. That Braves team looking good. Acuna's looking very good, looking like he's going to live up to what a lot of people, had determined, which was perennial MVP contender and future Hall of Famer. He's looked great, one of the best young players on the planet. Shohei Ohtani, of course, has brought the enjoyment all season. Acuna, Ohtani, Buxton have looked like some of the most exciting players in the league so far. And yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see and track how they do the rest of the season. Hopefully they continue to bring back the fun in baseball. That's one of the things I love about this new generation of stars we've got. They've made it very fun. They've been a lot of fun to watch, and hopefully we can keep that going. And yeah, it's been a very good start to the MLB season. Let's see if we can keep going. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the Roundup. Yes, we have reached the Roundup here, which means we have almost reached the end of a very good, I think, a very content-filled episode 36. But to not waste any time here, Hideki Matsuyama wins the Masters, the first major of the year in golf. He's also the first Japanese man to win a major. So congratulations to Matsuyama. He played a great tournament. He was, I think he was about 4 shots ahead heading into Sunday, and he just held the door down. Zadorus did a great job trying to close the gap and trying to make it interesting, but Matsuyama stayed in control, gets the win. He looked great. We'll see if he can keep this momentum going throughout the year and keep rising up those world golf rankings. But yeah, great job from Matsuyama. It was a solid Masters, even though he was pretty much a kind of a dominant winner, but still had some good storylines going on. Jordan Spieth is sure to return to form. We'll see if Spieth can regain that #1 position and regain the magic and the ability that he had about 2 to 3 years ago when he was at the top of his game. See if he can re-get that back. But yeah, congratulations to Matsuyama for getting it done. In the NHL, Auston Matthews, a guy that's probably going to go down even at this age. I think eventually, as everybody expects, going to go down as one of the greatest American players to ever do it in hockey. First to 30 goals this season. If this was a regular season without the COVID lockdown and the shortened season, he would be on pace for 66 goals, which is insane. But yeah, Matthews, one of the best players in the league, probably one of the top 5, top 3 players in the league. He's phenomenal for the Leafs. And yeah, we'll see if he can keep this goal barrage going and keep the winning ways for the Maple Leafs. Great job for Auston, though, putting on for USA Hockey. Very excited to see him with Patrick Kane and the rest of the guys, hopefully in the Olympics here. And to kind of end off here, keeping a storyline from last year, not last year, but last episode, I talked to you about the Paul Pierce shenanigans, him getting the haircut on IG Live with a bunch of women of the night and women that dance for money in the background, and him just having a grand old time. Paul Pierce doing normal adult things, right? Normal millionaire things. Well, that cost him his job at ESPN. The Truth got fired for that IG Live. Man got fired for 250 viewers. That's tough. But not that I think Paul Pierce is broke and needs money, but that's super tough. I mean, ESPN, did you have to fire him? I mean, you could have just given him a fine, man. He was just enjoying himself. Let the man live. Let Paul Pierce live, man. Let him be great. Let Paul be great. Y'all could have let it slide this one time. I'm sure he's not the only one that, gets his hair cut with strippers and weed, I'm sure there's other people that work at ESPN and do that. But hey, Paul gets fired. Maybe I'll hire him here. Here you can work for me. The truth gets fired, and we'll see where he ends up. See if he goes to another network or he tries to start his own thing. He said, stay tuned. So we'll see. But very, 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 very content-filled episode. I wasn't sure, but of course I always seem to find some stuff to talk about here on a Monday morning. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great episode. Remember to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. Social media links are in the description, of course, at the end of this video as well. That's episode 36. Hope you have a great week. I feel like it's going to be a very good week. We're in the midst of April. Got a lot of good things coming up. You guys let me know what you want me to do in terms of the NFL draft, what you want to see, if you got anything specific. No at the buzzer this week. I was very busy. We had a lot to talk about. But if you got something for next week, of course, as always, just send me it in the comments, send me on social media, whatever it is. But appreciate the support. Hope you guys enjoyed. Ocho, signing off.